Welcome to the Jungle Discipleship School podcast.
My name is David Small, and I'm going to be your host on this little journey together. Hi, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Jungle Discipleship School podcast. It's been a while. But here we are, and you're coming for a drive with me today in my truck. And I just want to thank Henry's Trucking for providing this truck to JDS. It's like amazing. It's a miracle. Every time I look at it, I think this is just, how do I have this truck? But anyways, yeah. And so I'm super thankful to Henry's Trucking. And if there's a little bit of background noise or bumps, it's because I'm driving back to the JDS campus and you're coming for a ride with me. But I want to start by reading a verse from Philippians chapter 1. And let me just find it here. Sorry. Okay, it says, wait, I'm going to crash and read at the same time. Oh, sorry, it's not Philippians 1, it's Philippians 4. And you know the verse. It says, don't worry about anything. Okay, I could just leave it right there, and we could all just kind of sit and chew on that for a little minute. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need. And thank Him for all that He's done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and mind as you live in Christ Jesus. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. It's interesting to just pause for a minute, and those words from the Apostle Paul, I could just read those and stop the recording, stop the podcast right here, because I think that's enough for us today. I think that's enough for us to sit and chew on as we just reflect. Are you thinking about things that are right and honorable and pure? Are you thinking about things that are lovely? What are the thoughts in your head? It's been a while since I've last recorded a podcast. A lot's been going on. We went on our mission, and we had a good mission, but a challenging mission in Karen State. And I think overall it was better than our first mission that we did. And we reformatted some things, we restructured some things, but then there was just this it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just a kind of circumstantial things going on that, just split up our team physically, where we had a bunch of people in different places at different times, and it was a bit disjointed. And anyways, you'll be able to see more about that on the JDS TV show. And what I wanted to share today, what's on my heart, is this idea of setbacks. And how do you handle setbacks in your life, but also how do you handle setbacks spiritually in your heart? And we've just had a setback at JDS where things have been going well, things have been plugging along. And if you watch episode 4 of JDS TV season 2, it's out now on YouTube. Check it out. My main man, Jonathan, did an awesome job editing that for us, and it looks beautiful. It gives you a glimpse into the life and the day-to-days of JDS, but there's a clip in there, there's a segment in there that talks about our alcohol group, our alcohol commandos, and I've talked about that quite a lot on the podcast, maybe more than I should, but basically since Christmas, before Christmas, we kind of recognized, okay, we have a problem. We have these guys that have addictions to alcohol. We're not doing anything to help them, so let's create an AA group, or our version of it. We call it the Alcohol Commandos. And so starting in semester 2, we started to meet and refine our Alcohols Commando group, and we had no more drunkenness. And I'm not saying that's a direct result of the Alcohol Commandos group, but I just think giving the boys a place where each week they could remind themselves of a few things. They can remind themselves of their identity. And the thing that we changed in the AA says, and it's kind of, the famous line, "Hi, my name is so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic." And I don't like that, because I don't like that we put our identity, we give our identity to alcohol, and we give our identity to these addictions. And so we've changed the wording, and our guys would say, I mean, they don't introduce themselves because, they all live together, but they would say, and what they read every week when they meet in the traditions of the JDS Overcomers group is that they are sons and daughters of God who struggle with addiction. And we would like to just imagine, we would like to think that those two things don't go hand in hand, but that, once you become a Christian, that all your addictions are gone and you're cleansed from everything, and you no longer are going to struggle with those things. And the sneaky thing that the devil does is that when you do actually struggle with those things, you have a greater temptation to put them in the dark, hide them somewhere, than to bring them in the light. And one of the things that our Overcomers group has done is to say, hey, we want to take this out of the dark and we want to bring it into the light, and we want it to be public. We want to say, hey, I struggle with this addiction. And anyways, it was going really well up until last week. We had a setback, and I had left campus, and while I was gone, I got a message one evening asking the question, hey, did you give the students permission to drink? And our rule is that they can drink a beer, they can drink a glass of traditional wine if they have permission. And the reason being is, and I've said this before, we want to bring it into the light. So, okay, we don't need to go hide, we don't need to go sneak off into the jungle. And the other part of it is then we can just have some accountability. Okay, how much do you want to drink? Okay, you have 2 cans of beer. Yeah, no problem, go. Oh, you have 6 cans of beer? No, this is too much for tonight. So let's not do that. But it gives some accountability over them. And the rule is that, okay, you can drink alcohol with permission, but you can never be drunk. And it's been going well. The boys sometimes will ask, hey, can I have a glass of wine? Can I drink some traditional alcohol or a beer? And they'll show me what they've got, who's going to do it, what's the plan. Yeah, okay, good, go. This is reality. And anyways, so I got this text, hey, did you give the boys permission to drink? Because everybody's drinking and some of them are actually getting drunk. And this actually surprised me, because we've been, now is April, December, January, February, March, 4 months, almost 3.5 months at least, where nobody's gotten drunk. And that's amazing. That's a record for us. And these guys, they really struggle with this. And it's such a common thing where, and maybe it is in your world too, where, okay, the end of the day comes and let's sit together and have a cold one, although there's nothing cold in Burma, but let's sit together and drink a beer, or the end of the day comes and, I'm just going to come home and have a glass of wine. And anyway, so I got a little angry when I heard the boys were drinking. And I started to call some of them. I was back in Chiang Mai, I wasn't there. And so I started to call some of them. And one of the boys I called was like, could hardly string a sentence together. And I was mad because we literally had just dealt with this. We had literally just dealt with people drinking without permission. Nobody was getting drunk, but they were drinking without having permission to drink. And so we literally just had this big blow up and talk about, okay, let's follow the rules. The rules are clear. The rules have a punishment. This is what the punishment is. We just went through it. And then I leave campus and they're doing it again. And this time they're getting drunk. And it was like, what is going on? And it was so disappointing because we had made so much progress. We had been doing so well. And I called up one of the staff and I said, okay, do a roll call, blow the whistle, get everybody there. This is like, I can't even remember which day it is, but it's evening time. Everybody was like in bed or getting ready for bed. And meanwhile, there's some guys who are having a little party. And I said, get a roll call, let's go. So they blow the whistle, they call everybody together, and I'm on video chat. And I address the students and say like, hey, what's going on here? Like, what's the deal? And nobody really gives any straight answers. There was a lot of anger, a lot of tension, it's escalating worse and worse and worse and worse. And halfway through this video call, I realized like, hey, okay, man, my phoning, my calling everybody together is not helping the situation. They're just getting triggered. They're just getting agitated. And it's actually just going to make them more fired up. So I said, okay, I'll deal with this when I get back. And I hung up. And I kept getting some messages probably for the next 2 hours of people who were angry, people storming off, people like just totally being idiots, and guys are fighting each other. And I was like, it just broke my heart. And I was there praying for the boys and praying for the leaders. And I just felt Jesus say that part of the devil's tactic in this is to get my response. The devil knows that I'm going to blow a gasket. The devil knows that I'm going to blow my lid and have a reaction to this kind of thing, which then is going to cause even more issues, more grief, more stress, and get the boys triggered, get the boys really fired up. Their response is, oh, you want to discipline me? Bring it on. Like, their response is not to say like, yeah, okay, I screwed up, I'm sorry. Their response is to like buff up and say, okay, I'm going to tell you everything in my mind that makes me angry, whether it has anything to do with you or anything to do with this situation. I'm going to just fight you in this. And I just felt Jesus point out to me like, hey, the tactic here is against me. It's against me as the leader of this program. And yeah, okay, he's using the students and he's attacking the students to get to me. Maybe that sounds arrogant. Maybe that sounds a bit selfish, but this is just what I was feeling. And I was kind of wrestling with Jesus. And I thought, yeah, okay, I respond to the drinking. I respond to the rule breaking with a very iron fist, a very black and white, like, hey, this is the rule. You've agreed to the rule. You broke the rule. This is the punishment. You have a problem with it? Get out of here. Go home. I don't care. And that only creates more problems. That only creates more issues in this group. And so I had to take a minute and just repent and say like, hey, I got sucked in. I got sucked into the devil's plan here, and it took me out. And it took me out for 2 days, where I was back and I was trying to have a break and trying to rest, and I had to get some work done. And there's these things that I want to do that on my to-do list, like record a podcast episode. And when I'm feeling, I love the podcast. I love recording podcast episodes. I love the community that it builds. I love people getting a deeper dive into what's happening at JDS and this journey of discipleship. But when I'm feeling under attack, I have zero motivation to record a podcast episode. I don't even have motivation to just record a 5-second thing that says, hey, sorry, it's been a while. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly. Like in the podcast world, that's what I need to do. And I have zero motivation to do that when I'm feeling a spiritual attack. And so, yeah, it's a challenge to fight through those things. And we need to be aware of the tactics of the devil. And we need to be aware of what the devil is doing in our lives and how he's coming at us. And especially for me, of course he wants to take me out. Of course he wants to cause problems for me. Of course he wants to take my rest away. John 10:10, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. You think he wants JDS to happen? You think he wants us? We're so close to graduation, and now I'm driving back with this cloud hanging over me, this broken heart, where I have to think to myself like, hey, there's a student that was really inappropriate, and I may have to kick them out 6 weeks before graduation, and I have to kick out a student. And I'm like, this breaks my heart, and I genuinely love this student, and I know that the actions of the student are the actions of his addiction and brokenness. It's not the true identity of the student. It's not who this boy really is. However, I have a duty and responsibility to the program and to all the students, and I don't know what to do about this now. And so I'm going to sit down and tell him, like, okay, give me a reason why I shouldn't kick you out. You might hear my big engine here revving because up the mountain we go. I'm happy to have this nice turbo diesel Toyota Hilux. Thanks again to Henry's Trucking, who paid for the whole thing. It's incredible, but it's a beast. I took a drink of my coffee there just to let you try to listen to the sound of my engines revving. Anyways, I digress. So how do you handle setbacks? One thing I've learned from this recent thing is to ask Jesus, show me the tactics. Jesus, show me the tactic that the devil is using. And this is war, man. Like the devil is not an idiot. The devil and the demons are watching you, are studying you. They've been studying humanity. They've been studying human nature from the moment we were in the garden. From the moment we took a bite of the apple, demons have been studying our nature, even prior to taking a bite of the apple. But they've been watching you, and they're crafting a plan against you because you bear the image of God. And anything that bears the image of God, they are against, and they want to destroy. And they don't just want to make a headache for you, they want to blow the whole thing up. They want to embarrass God. They want to break apart the church. They want to sow seeds of dissent. And we have to ask Jesus, show me the tactic the devil is using here. Open my eyes to the tactic, and let's just be wise to it. Let's ask Jesus for these things, because he'll show us. And for me, I was fired up and angry about the students, and I thought like, okay, I have a duty as a leader. This is easy. This is clear. very straightforward. 1 + 2 = 3. This is the rule. You broke it. This is the punishment. Done. But it wasn't quite so simple or so clear. And as Jesus opened my eyes to say, like, hey, this is actually not so much an attack against you as it is an attack against, not so much attack against your students, it's an attack against you, and you need to be aware of that, and you need to be fighting that. And so it was interesting. And so I encourage you, well, how do you handle setbacks in your life? How do you handle struggles? And how do you handle the attacks of the enemy? Do you live in a way that is that it's like a world at war? Just take a second and consider that. Like, consider the latest setback you've had, and ask Jesus to show you the tactic. And we need to learn, like, as a military guy, I was taught, okay, you have to study your enemy, learn their habits, learn their tactics, learn their maneuvers, learn the things that they do, watch them carefully, and it'll help you to guide your own tactics in how you fight them. And we need to do that in the spiritual world as well. I'm heading back to JDS now, and I've been trying to get this business visa. So when I left the Free Burma Rangers, I had to give up my visa and figure out, how do I stay legal here and how do I get a new visa? And so I ended up opening a gym in Chiang Mai with 2 Thai friends. And so we have a small business, and it's through the small business that I get my visa now. The business can issue me a visa. And I'm on the final step. So yesterday I went and got a 30-day extension. And next week, or within the next 2 weeks, the immigration police are going to come and check my business, and I have to be there. So usually they give you a day or two's notice before they come, which should give me time to, get there and be there. And then they come and they'll drink a coffee and they'll say hi and they'll check a box, and then you're good to go. And after that check, then I go back and they'll stamp my passport again for 1 year. And then every year after that, there's no more checks. It's just a 1 year renewal. I just bring my business paperwork when my visa's due, and I'll get a new 1 year. So amazing to be on the final steps. I really hope that the final check goes well, that I don't have any issues being there. And just that it can be really smooth. And then I get the 1 year visa. The thing with this whole process, there's been like multiple steps, and it's taken a year, literally a year, to get to this point. And I'm on my way back to JDS, but it requires me to leave campus. And the idea of getting the 1 year visa is, okay, then I don't have to be going back and forth every month to Chiang Mai. Next week I'm teaching. Next week I'm teaching on trauma care. And man, I wish I was a pro. I wish, I have a counselor in Denver that I go and see when I come back every summer. And I wish he was here to teach this. My dear friend Kevin, who works in Chiang Mai as a counselor, smartest guy I know. I wish that he was here to teach it, because I feel like I wonder if I feel like how David felt as he's facing Goliath, and I need a little more courage to do this. But like I don't have a sword, I don't have a machine gun, I have a few small pebbles in my pocket and a slingshot, and fighting a giant. And man, the guys need this, and the girls too. And it's just going to be interesting to look at trauma. And there's a methodology of counseling called Internal Family System, and IFS. And the idea, the kind of generalist, I'm going to screw this up, but again, I'm not a professional at this, but the general idea is a family had this bratty teenager, and let's give the bratty teenager a name, like Lenny. Let's say the bratty's teenager name was Lenny, and the family brings the teen to a counselor and says to the counselor, like, hey, fix our teenager, he's a brat. And so the counselor says, okay, and starts going through and talking with the kid, and the counselor realizes, like, if I really want to help this kid, I also need to do counseling with the parents, and I also need to do counseling with the brother and sister, and this kid is only one part of the system, the family structure here, and we need to address things in the whole family. And it led this counselor and this psychologist to start to research and go down this path of thinking, like, okay, the actions of the kid are only one part of the family, and we need all parts of the family to be present in order to get it whole, to get it healthy, to get it functional again, and move it from a place of dysfunction to function. And so he started to then look inwardly and say, okay, inside all of us, we have these different parts. And we know this to be true. It's actually biblical as well. And the counselor who came up with IFS, he was not a Christian counselor, but I believe that this is a biblical idea. And we hear Paul says, man, I don't do what I want to do, and I do what I don't want to do. And he's saying there are these different parts inside of me at war with each other. There are these different parts of me that want different things and don't want certain things. And we know it as humans. We say things like, oh man, yeah, part of me wants to do this, and part of me wants to do that, and part of me wants to go over there. And right now I feel like part of me, as I think about disciplining this student, part of me wants to kick him out. Part of me wants to set an example and say, okay, dude, you can't act this way. You can't control yourself. I love you, but you got to go. I'm sorry. Actions have consequences. Part of me wants that. But part of me just feels so sad for this kid that he's got so much anger, so much grief, so much trauma, so much fatherlessness, and that his actions are not his true self, and to just give him a big hug. And so I have to wrestle as a leader, I have to wrestle with these parts of me, and we all have these same things. We all have to wrestle with parts of us, like, okay, part of me believes this to be true about God, and part of me struggles with this. Part of me believes, when I become a Christian, when I get saved, my addictions are not going to be real anymore. But part of me knows they are real. And so how do we reconcile this? And the idea is, and this is just big picture, big concepts, lots of great resources out there. This is what I'm trying to teach on next week is, when we let a certain part drive the bus, when we let a certain part take over and be in control, we start to operate in our false self. We start to have a dysfunctional life. We start to be off balance. And rather than letting certain parts drive the bus, drive our lives, make the decisions, make the reactions, instead we need to talk with these parts and say, okay, what data are you trying to present? What are you trying to say right now? And I've done a lot of parts work in my counseling at Restoring the Soul. You guys, I'm telling you, Restoring the Soul in Denver, they primarily focus on trauma care, and just they're Jedis, they're Jedi Knights, and I'm really thankful for them and thankful for the Father who has opened that up to me. But anyways, there are these, you can buy on Amazon, you can buy these things, they're called IFS parts work cards. And at first they kind of have a feel to like tarot cards, a little bit like new age spirituality kind of deal, but they're just cards with random like kind of artwork or paintings or drawings or cartoons on each card. Each card is one random cartoon. And there's maybe 50 or 60 or 70 in a deck. I think there's 2 decks of these cards, totally just random pictures. And I have these cards, I brought them with me, and I'll sit down with the guys after something happens or someone's struggling, and I'll say, go through this deck of cards, and using your first gut reaction, put aside cards that you feel describe something in you. And so they'll start shuffling through the deck and they'll start to put these cards aside. And after they get through, and they've got, sometimes they have 2 or 3. Once one of my students had like 15 or 20 almost cards, like, whoa, okay, there's a lot going on. And then it's just really beautiful. Okay, we pray, Jesus, show us what's going on here. Show us what this is trying to tell us. What is the data? What are all these different parts of us feeling? What are all these different parts of us saying? And it's really beautiful to sit and listen as the student then says, okay, this card, I picked this card because of this. This is what I feel when I look at this picture or this cartoon. And it gives them a way to describe what they're feeling. It gives them a way to describe the part. And then we can start to organize the parts into things that are responses, triggers, things that are deep hurts and wounds, things that are exiles, like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to put this away. I'm going to put this in jail. I'm not going to think about it. And then reactions and what are responses to your actions, and what happens when your life goes this way. And it's really cool just to watch these students and unpack the cards with them. And so it's this idea of like, man, there's lots going on inside of us. And I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, the Burma Army was bombing a lot. They were bombing our campus. They were bombing everywhere we were, not at JDS, but this is with Free Burma Rangers at the time. And the Burma Army cowardly bombs in the middle of the night. And these jets come, and you have very little time. You may get a warning on the radio. At the time, we had this kind of early warning system that gives you maybe 5 seconds before the jet is right on top of you. And I remember a night, we had actually moved houses because there was a really big risk of being bombed that night. And so we moved houses because our house, what we kind of concluded was we were right on the bombing run, and we're not going to sleep there that night. We're going to just move off the bombing run. And so we were sleeping in this other little house on the edge of campus. And in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., we get this call, and we wake up, we get out of the house, we start to move into the jungle, and the jet comes, and it's low, and it's hungry, and it's going to bomb something. And I remember sitting crouched in the jungle, and I can hear the bombs land not far, not right on our campus, not on our area, but like on the side of the mountain. And I remember just shaking. My hands were shaking, and I remember thinking, like, what is going on? Like, am I cold, or am I afraid, or like, what is with this shaking? And then there was this part of me that was so mad that my hands were tremoring. And there are these kind of 2 parts here. There's this part of me that is this young boy, this young, scared boy. I don't want to die. This is terrifying. This is like Smog in The Hobbit, just roaring around the sky, destroying everything in its sight. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And there's this small boy inside of me that's saying, like, I don't want to die. This is horrible. And then there's this other part of me that is angry and saying, get your act together, man. You've got to respond. If the bomb lands on your area or your people, you've got to go and help, and you got to like man up here. You can't sit here like a little boy. And these two parts both have data, both want to tell me something. And I don't want to let either one of these parts drive the bus. I don't want to let either one of these parts take control. So, but I can't ignore them. I have to just ask, okay, what's up here? What's going on? And the little boy can say nothing to the old soldier that will calm the old soldier down. And the old soldier can say nothing to the little boy that will comfort him. The only one that can speak across all of our different parts is Jesus. And it's really beautiful to invite Jesus into those things. I want to encourage you to pay attention to the parts, especially in times of setback. And I want to just close by reading, this is a communion prayer. And some of you may be familiar with Timothy Keller. He was a pastor, and this was a communion prayer that he would read occasionally before communion at his church. And for me, I just think this is a really beautiful prayer, communion prayer, in relation to the parts of us, all the different parts going on inside of us. And when I was doing parts work and I was doing counseling down in Denver, on the last day, my counselor is just amazing. He's a great guy. My counselor, he brought bread and wine, and all the different parts that we had worked on that week, he laid out the cards and on the table, and then he read this communion prayer, and it was just a really beautiful moment. And then we took communion together. But this is the communion prayer for parts and the parts of us. And I'm going to try to read it while driving a windy mountain road on the wrong side of the road without crashing. All are welcome at the table of God. Every man, woman, and child. For Christ brings peace to all, tearing down every hostile wall so that the many may become one. One heart, one family, one new humanity. For God, who is love, and Christ, who is all and in all, show no partiality and make no distinctions. So neither race, nor class, gender, nor sexuality, politics, nor religion, personality, nor nationality count for us or against us. The light of Christ enlightens us. Christ the prisoner and the naked. Christ the hungry. Christ the hungry and the sick. Christ the thirsty and the stranger. Christ the other. May God's Spirit hover over our chaos, our hatred and indifference, descend in our heart with love and pleasure, blow us out into the world to listen and serve, and set us ablaze to forgive and reconcile. For we are all welcomed at the table of God, every man, woman, and child. And I believe that to be true for the parts inside of us. We're wrapping up JDS soon, and I had these grand ideas for our graduation. May 23rd is our graduation. You can be praying for that. We'll be graduating the first ever JDS class. It's amazing. And as I started to think about graduation, what graduation should be, the word that came to mind is carnival, a circus. dunk tanks, trampolines, like a celebration, not only of our students, though that be the main focus, but on the fact that God has brought us here and delivered us, and that we should celebrate those things. And lately, after these setbacks, I've had just no energy, no motivation to celebrate, no motivation to think about graduation. And, I was trying to make some graduation certificates and things like that. And then I was like, I don't even know who's actually still going to be left to graduate. And so I just got discouraged with all my plans. But graduation is coming up, and we've got 6 weeks of classes left, basically 5 weeks of classes left, and then a week of we call closing week, where each staff member gets 1 day to kind of give their final encouragement, tips, advice, one-on-one sessions, different things like that. And then graduation, and then we're done. And then we take a break for the summer. I'll spend a few weeks in Chiang Mai and just getting logistics and things organized. And then I'm coming back stateside, back to Canada. And right now I've got part of the summer scheduled and not all of it. And so, if you want me to come and speak at your church, I'd love to come and speak at your church, give an update, give encouragement, give a challenge. It'd be an honor for me. So just get in touch. And it would be cool to hang out, see everybody. I'm excited. I'm going to start my return like I always do in Denver at Restoring the Soul for a week. And then I'll be down to Phoenix, Arizona for about 4 or 5 days. And then after Phoenix, over to Asheville, North Carolina to visit some friends, and from Asheville up to Fredericton, where I'm super excited to be speaking at Oromocto Baptist Church. This is a great little church that I've got a good relationship with. And then after OBC, I'll be flying back to Winnipeg, and then I'll be around the Kenora, Emo, Winnipeg area. We'll hold a fishing tournament that July 4th weekend. And so if you're able to help us with that, that'd be amazing. Or if you just want to come fishing, come on. It's primarily for our Karen and Burmese friends in Winnipeg, but whatever. And then I'll probably be speaking at a handful of churches in the district just to give updates and share, but nothing in the district is set in stone. And then I'll end my summer I'll probably head out to Kelowna for a few days to visit family, and then a quick trip down in North Dakota, visit my boy Bretter. Maybe we'll record another podcast episode together. And then, Alberta for a week, probably speaking at Sturgeon Alliance Church in the middle of August. And then from there, flying out back to August 19th, back to Thailand. So it's going to go fast, as it always does. But I'd love to just spend time with each of you listeners. And if you're in the area, let's get in touch and set something up. So you can be praying for us, please, and me especially as I'm driving back, but as I have to have some difficult conversations and what do I do? And just for our students, I get it. I get it that there's hard stuff in their lives and they've done a great job. I get it that nobody really does AA and they just stop the first time and never have any setbacks. They never have any slip-ups along the way. There's going to be back to day zero. And some people, they go back to day zero once a week. And others, it's every 3 months. But we start again. There's new mercies every morning. And so I need these mercies, and my students need these mercies. And so please pray for us. Pray for our students. We want to see continued change. And I am so thankful because there's been real change in the lives of our students. And 5 of our students asked to be baptized. And, that's a whole nother podcast episode, but just incredible to see the change in some of their lives, in their hearts, and some of the small victories. But there's going to be setbacks, and we can't give up. We keep moving forward. We ask Jesus to show us the tactics of the enemy in the setback, and we get stronger. We hone our fighting ability, and we keep fighting in the kingdom of God. So thanks for being with us. Thanks for praying alongside us. Thanks for joining our newsletter, 5 Bullet Wednesday. Thanks for joining our podcast updates. Oh, one last thing. This is exciting. We have JDS Coffee. Yes, you heard me right, coffee. So there's this incredible group, a missionary couple, and they started originally they started like an orphanage and a small scholarship program, boarding house for students. And it was like partial orphanage, partial like some farmers, couldn't take care of their kids. And so this couple said, okay, we're going to provide you a dormitory and some scholarships so you can go to school. And then they grew this vision into a coffee farm and hired a lot of these farmers and migrant workers to come and work on the coffee farm. And when they sell the coffee, then the money from the coffee sale goes back to scholarships and the dorm and the orphanage and things like that. So we've partnered with them. They're where they grow their beans is, in a straight line from our JDS campus, not that far. It's kind of in the mountains north of in northern Thailand, and they've got an awesome, like organic, shade-grown Arabica, and just a really great tasting coffee. And they did special roasts for us, and so we did some samples and maybe 8 or 9 different. Okay, if you're not interested in coffee, you can end the podcast right here, but I love coffee. So they gave us 8 or 9 different samples, like, okay, this is a 20% Robusta and 80% Arabica, and this one is 50-50, and this one is roasted a little bit darker, and this one's roasted a little bit lighter. And we did a whole bunch of different samples like that until we settled on a blend and a roast just for us, just for JDS. And it's what I drink every morning. And anyway, so we now have JDS Coffee, and there's 16 kilograms being sent back to Canada, North America right now. And if you want to get some JDS Coffee and give it a try, I think it's so cool if a church, every church serves coffee. So why not serve JDS Coffee on your Sunday morning? And you're going to serve coffee anyways, and you're probably serving like sweatshop nabob coffee or Tim Hortons, heaven forbid. And why not get JDS Coffee, support a missionary, and support a school in Thailand, support JDS, get the news out, and have an amazing coffee on the process. So get yourself some JDS Coffee. You go to junglediscipleshipschool.com and you'll see it in the store, and you can place an order for coffee, and we'll ship it either from Thailand or from Canada. And give it a shot. Let us know what you think of JDS Coffee. Cool project, super fun. And anyways, thanks for being with us. Thanks for listening. Love you guys, and hope to see you guys all soon. Thank you so much for your prayers. I'll talk to you guys another day.